Your woke corporation is feeling the wrath of normal people. And it's not just Netflix feeling the wrath. Their shareholders are the ones facing the real consequences. Because Netflix has lost billions of dollars in value in less than a week. How many times do we have to go through this? How many times are these corporations going to lose billions of dollars for passionately embracing Wiener? You know, when I was growing up, cable television was my generation's version of Netflix. Cable became mainstream in the mid to late 80s, but by the time I was a prepubescent boy in the 90s, damn near everyone had cable. Unlike the broadcast networks, which are heavily regulated by the FCC even to this day, cable was basically unregulated. Back then, parents were worried about their kids watching MTV. You can't watch Ozzy Osbourne. That man is the devil. They were worried about their kids being exposed to South Park on Comedy Central. You can't watch those boys with oversized heads. They say four-letter words. South Park is the devil. God forbid your cable package came with complimentary Cinemax. Then your parents were damn sure worried. You're not allowed to watch Cinemax, Fred, but Daddy watches it at nighttime while his blanket is moving up and down. Back then, parents were worried about their kids losing their adolescent innocence from watching MTV. They were worried about their child going to school and repeating what they heard on South Park. At the same time, there were plenty of child-appropriate shows that parents could trust. Outside of South Park, most cartoons back then were trustworthy. You didn't have to worry about Disney indoctrinating your kids. Didn't have to worry about Nickelodeon trying to convince your son that he's really your daughter. Back then, parents pretty much knew who they could trust and which networks weren't appropriate for their children. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case. I know every generation says this, but I think it's harder to be a parent today than it was at any other point in history. Kids are losing their innocence younger and younger. I see 6-year-olds at restaurants playing on cell phones or tablets. Hell, my nephews know how to work a cell phone better than my mother does. It is becoming harder and harder for parents to know who they can trust. As a parent, you would think that most cartoons are trustworthy. Apparently, there are several cartoons on Netflix that were created with the sole purpose of indoctrinating your children. This week, the cartoons were exposed by Elon Musk, who announced to his over 240 million Twitter followers that they needed to cancel Netflix immediately. The problem for Netflix, his followers listened. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So going to get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Left Coast Lighting. When it comes to aftermarket lighting, not all LEDs are created equal, which is why serious drivers choose Diode Dynamics from Left Coast Lighting. Their patented total internal reflection optics deliver a sharp focused beam with no glare. LEDs from Diode Dynamics are waterproof, shockproof. They are tested in extreme environments, and they're made to survive conditions whether on or off-road. To me, the best part is their simplicity. Whether you're looking for fog lights, headlights, doesn't matter. LEDs from Diode Dynamics are easy to install. The LEDs are plug and play. There's no cutting or rewiring. Installation is quick and easy. Also comes with an industry-leading 3-year warranty and lifetime support. If you want lighting that's brighter, tougher, smarter, click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Receive 10% off your first purchase with Left Coast Lighting. Headline at Newsmax: Netflix loses over $15 billion in less than a week. Now, I am no expert in business, but I'm pretty sure a $15 billion loss is no bueno. Now, obviously, Netflix did not lose $15 billion from their bank account, but the value of the company declined by $15 billion this week as normal people boycotted the company. 4 weeks ago, Netflix shares were trading for $1,250 a share. As of today, Netflix has that number down to a cool $1,150. The controversy started this week when some doofus named Hamish Steele was accused of celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. As it turns out, Hamish has other interests besides allegedly celebrating the death of an American hero. He also likes to entertain the children. Oh, the children! It's all about the children! Several years ago, Hamish created a series for the kiddies named Dead End Paranormal Park. Judging by the title of the series, I'm assuming the target demographic is young nerds, or kids who are fascinated by the articles written by the Star Trek virgin Mike Freeman. The animated series follows two teenagers and something called a pug. They work together to fight demons, or as they're known in human form, Keith Olbermann. Keithy Boo! The teenagers and their friend Pug, they fight Keithy Poo in a haunted amusement park. Typical cartoon stuff for kids, right? According to Libs of TikTok, the show isn't just about teenagers fighting poo. There is a deeper, more important lesson to be learned in each episode. The show also teaches children the fine art of gender selection. Just because you were born with Franken beans, that does not mean you had to use the boys' restroom. You are more than entitled to pee sitting down. This isn't the only cartoon on Netflix that's responsible for indoctrinating children. 4 years ago, Barack Obama and his lovely wife, Michelle, they collaborated together to produce a show called Ada Twist, Ada Twist. Show follows an 8-year-old scientist named Ada as she explores people through scientific discovery. What exciting scientific discoveries does Ada make? Well, in one episode, Ada discovers a fascinating wedding between a groom and a groom, which is ironic because grooming is exactly what they're being accused of doing. Now, in fairness to Netflix, both of these shows came out 3 or 4 years ago. Shows were released during the pinnacle of the woke movement. But that did not stop millions of people from canceling their subscriptions to Netflix this week. Now, will this hurt Netflix long term? Probably not, but it is a reminder that you don't mess with the children. You know, Americans are willing to forgive a lot of things. In some cases, I think Americans can be too forgiving. But if there's one thing normal people will not tolerate, it's woke corporations indoctrinating their children. Ask Target how that worked out for them. Men, we have a tendency to forgive and forget. You can piss a man off and he might be mad for a day or an hour. Then, we forget all about it. But women never forget. Some people are defending Netflix. If I had to guess, most of the defenders are probably shareholders who just lost their ass. But defenders of Netflix are claiming there's a simple solution to this problem. Parents control what their children watch. Just set parental controls and the problem is solved. Yeah, that's definitely true. Parental controls are effective in preventing your kids from watching R-rated movies. Parental controls can be effective in making sure your child doesn't see surgically enhanced breast on a bearded beauty. Look, Mom, that man has bazooms. But the shows we're talking about are rated for general audiences. Their target audience is children, which means the parental controls are absolutely useless. Basically, parents have to watch every show their child wants to watch to make sure it's appropriate. While that sounds great in theory, it's damn near impossible to do in real life. Parents are busy. Mom is tired after a long day of work. Then she's got to cook and clean. By the time she finally sits down, the last thing she wants to do is watch some cartoon that's trying to convince her to taste the rainbow. There used to be a level of trust between networks and parents. There used to be an unspoken understanding. When I was growing up, my parents knew that anything on the Disney Channel was safe. Anything on Nickelodeon was safe. Saturday morning cartoons on ABC or TNBC on NBC, safe. Now, it's impossible for parents to keep up. We have a former president producing a show that exposes children to the LGBT. If I had to guess, I'd be willing to bet the show also focuses on mythical racism. Deacons at Woke United Methodist, they are trying to indoctrinate the children. Why? Because they're the easiest to manipulate. Think about it. Start them young with cartoons. Once they get into public school, the indoctrination continues. By the time they get to college, their mind already belongs to the deacons. When they graduate 4 years later, the proud dad realizes that he just spent $60,000 for his son to become his daughter. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.